Hey, welcome to another typology interview. We have Kendrick. How's it going, Kendrick?
Hey man, how's it going, Benjamin?
Good. Yeah, so I already know your type and I already know you. You interviewed me first, so that's cool.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's backwards.
Yeah, it's okay. I'm glad to finally get you here. So let's hear a little bit about you because you're interviewing people all the time, and we don't really ever we don't get to hear like the whole story of Kendrick. Who is Kendrick? So let's start maybe with like your background in typology.
I started kind of like when I think when I was in college. I was officially typed by MBTI. What do they call it? Like um, someone that kind of does it for students.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
So we all like filled out the forms. Like multiple choice, and
Yeah.
they're probably not super accurate, but at that time, that's what that was what was working for a lot of individuals.
Right. Did you
Right.
understand MBTI when you took the test?
I did because I've read a lot of books on it
Ah,
already.
okay. All right.
The test, like I read this book called "Please Understand Me Too,"
Right.
and
Okay.
I read a bunch of websites, online,
Okay.
this CareSafe, for example. So when I got my result back and I got ENFP, I was like, oh, okay, I knew this already,
Oh, nice. Okay.
but like that kind of like made it official, right? Because I had like a thick stack of paper that kind of like said what my
Right.
personality type was like and what kind of career I should pursue.
Okay. Well, it's really cool that you're like one of the few people who, the MBTI test actually got your type right. So that's cool.
Yeah, I mean, I was just honest with myself, right?
Right.
Like there's questions that, like, I'll give you a funny story. Like, I have a coworker who is clearly a feeler, right? And like, she took her MBTI test and she came out as ESTJ, and I said, I don't think you're an ESTJ. You use a lot of emotion, like a lot of FE. She's like, ew, feelings, and I'm like, okay, that's like the most contradictory statement I've
Right.
ever, right? Like, what did I say?
Yeah.
Like, I cannot picture an ESTJ going, ew, feelings, like.
Right. Right.
Because it's like it's so fe, right? but
Yeah. Hating
so
your saviors, loving your demons. Yeah.
yeah, maybe something like that.
Yeah.
But like when I was answering the question, I was just honest. I was like, are you emotional? I'm like, yes, I am. I'm very emotional. So I just stick that, right?
Right.
Like, I wasn't bullshitting myself. I knew what my pitfalls were. And then, so I got into, MBTI, the Enneagram. I think those were the two my go-to
Right.
in terms of typology. And then I just kind of spent so many years just reading so many books on it. Like, I have a huge stack of books in my in my bedroom right now.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Lead came
Uh,
soon. There you go.
yeah, 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 yeah. I've been obsessive with consume since I was a kid. Like, the moment I learned how to read when I was 5 years old, the first thing I did
Right.
was I went to the library in my elementary school, and I started reading books on dinosaurs, just outer space,
Awesome.
hurricanes, like just like random shit that
Yeah.
like why would you read this?
Satisfy that NE. Satisfy the NE. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like. I wasn't doing it for anyone. I was doing it for myself, right? Like,
Yeah.
I was. It's like kind of like entertainment. Like, I was reading it, like, oh, this is so
Yeah.
cool, so fascinating, you know.
Yeah. So
And
it sounds like your NE was like just really active then and just really wanted to be stimulated. Yeah.
yeah, I wanted to be
Really curious.
stimulated, and I wanted to learn. And I like other kids play basketball in the playground, but like I was in the library. I was like a little nerd dweeb, like
Cool.
reading books. So, and then like even as I was growing up, like I'm originally from Philippines. I was born in Philippines. I came to Canada when I was 10.
Okay.
But like right when I came to Canada when I was 10, I realized that they had, free public libraries here. So like that's what I did. Like, I would go to the public library, get like borrow like a stack of 10 books. I would read all 10 books in like a week.
Wow. And English wasn't hard for you back then?
Well, Philippines is an English speaking country,
Oh,
actually.
okay. Yeah.
So
Okay.
I already had like strong English when I came to Canada.
Awesome.
But yeah, like I said, I was obsessive with like survival books. Like, I had the obsession with like man versus like nature.
Okay.
I don't know if you read the book Hatchet, but
No.
yeah, but like I just had this obsessive streak. Like, I would read the same theme. It would be like man versus nature. Like some person had a car crash or like sorry, not a car crash, like a plane crash. And now they're in the middle of the wilderness,
Right.
or and somewhere along those lines, and they have like a knife and like like a few food in their backpack, and they have to survive for like for as long as possible to
Right.
get rescued. And
So
that was like,
you're the one person we want to be next to if there's ever an apocalypse, all the situations.
yeah, like even right now I'm thinking of taking like survival courses,
Oh,
because like
wow.
because like because I do a lot of like hiking.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and one time I went to Hawaii to do the Kalalau Trail, and many times I was kind of caught with my pants down in a sense that like I wasn't prepared. Like I
Um,
wasn't prepared. Like I didn't bring enough food. I didn't know how to set up a tent properly.
demon
All like
planning.
um,
Demon planning. That's it.
it
You weren't
wasn't.
prepared.
Well, I planned for the trip itself. Like the trip itself went well.
Right.
Like outside the hiking, like
Right.
like car rental, the hotel booking and stuff. But when it comes to the fine details, like okay, how many food do I need to bring, or
Yeah.
like how do I set up a tent? Like all those fine details always catches me. Like it really catches me in a bad way. Like like I said, we got to the end of the hike, and it's a 4-day trek. We get there and we don't have enough food because I didn't count enough. I didn't realize that I needed more food. Like
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
didn't
Yeah.
yeah.
You
Like
didn't
when it
work on
comes
the fine details. You didn't. Yeah. The SI, demon SI, right there. Awesome.
yeah. So I had to use my um I had to use my people skills to get myself out of this. Like
Right.
I was there with my sister and my two sisters and my girlfriend. And literally, man, we don't have enough food to get out of the place. Like we had like to do a 12-hour hike the next day to get out of this area. We literally only had like one chocolate bar left.
Okay.
And like so we're pretty much screwed, right? And like our stove died, and we were running out of like water to like the there's like this drop that you can use to filter water.
Okay.
We're also running out of the drop. Like I said, we just didn't prepare properly for like the detailed stuff, right?
Like an
So
iodine drop sort of thing
like it's like a drop that you put in your water so that it
to clean it. Yeah. It's iodine pill or something. An iodine drop.
yeah, exactly, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's not a pill though, it's like it's an actual drop.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
you drop like 7 drops, and then you wait like 30 minutes and you can drink the water.
Right. Nice.
So I actually had to go to the other campers and like try to barter with them, right? I'll give you $20 if you sell me some of your food,
Right.
and like some people actually gave me their food, and I was like, okay,
Obviously. Yeah. Yeah.
so yeah, I used my people skills to
Exactly. To make
the
them feel
whole.
bad for you. Yeah.
Well, they didn't feel bad. They didn't feel
Right,
bad. Like,
you and your two women that you have to take care of. Yeah.
well, there's three of them, but
Oh, three of them. Yeah. There you go. Yeah.
yeah. But I did notice though that I was very fascinated with the whole survival like um concept. Like
Yeah.
when I was like even though we were dying, I was so stimulated. Like I felt so happy even though we were dying. It was kind of like the range, right? Like oh my, I was talking to like some hippies who was living there all year round. Like they don't live in civilization anymore. They live in the middle of the jungle. And I was so fascinated. I kept asking him so many questions, like, how do you live here for the whole year? Like, where do you get food? And then
Right.
he'll tell me like he'll go to the mountains and hunt for goats, or go to the river and get clams or like shrimp,
Wow.
go fishing. The jungle was full of avocados that you can just pick. They
Oh,
have a lot of
awesome.
guavas, and my sister, who's an INFJ, was thriving in this environment. Like she was going into the jungle. She like when we were running out of food, she actually came back with like avocados and like guavas and like passion fruit. And, and then like we had like some food to eat, right? Like the
Yeah.
bad thing was that they were all diuretic, right? So it made us kind of poop more. But
At
like
least you had food. Yeah.
yeah. So like I was so fascinated. I was like, oh my god, I can live here for like 8 months and like learn how to survive without like anything. Um, Now, obviously, I didn't do it because that was
Right.
obviously stupid. I was getting influenced by like another person, right? Because I'm
Right.
also easily, I'm easily excited by a new concept. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
bad
It was
because then,
exciting. Yeah. I get that. Yeah. Cool,
yeah,
man. So we sort of strayed off the topic. So you did that MBTI stuff. Um,
yeah,
I wanted to know about your history. So then you got into OP after that,
yeah. Like I discovered Dave's superpowers, kind of
right?
like I moved out initially, and when I moved out, I was kind of like in a desperate situation because like like as an Asian, like we're quite sheltered by our family. Like we don't move, like Asian people don't move out from their home until they get married.
Oh,
And so I kind of defied that. Like I was a little bit older now, so kind of like in my late 20s, and I was like, okay, I need to get out of my home. I can't live like sheltered anymore.
yeah,
So I was still going to school at the time because I was like I was a shitty student, right? Like I just didn't study. Like
right.
I was kind of using school as a way to kind of prolong responsibility, like
That's
not
crazy.
having to.
Like lead consume, not learning. Okay.
Well, because I didn't want to learn those things.
Yeah, you had so many other things interesting you. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but I also, it was kind of like an irresponsibility thing, right? Like SI is about being responsible, so
Okay,
I
yeah,
was kind
yeah.
of irresponsible. Like I didn't want to have that self responsibility to take care of myself and to be serious with life. You know, like get a job, get a career. Um, so I put it off. But like I was getting so many tidal waves because my mom was an IJ, right? She's an
Okay.
ISFJ, so she was very controlling with me and my siblings. So
Hmm.
I had it at like one point. I was like, you know what? I don't give a shit if I only have enough money to pay for 1 month's rent. I'm gonna move out. I don't have a job, but I'm gonna move out, and I'm gonna make it work.
Right.
And I did. So I moved out. Like I said, I only had enough money to pay for 1 month's rent. I did not have a job, and I had my back against the wall. I did not have a line of credit. Okay, my credit card had $500 limit.
Wow.
Uh, and I can't use my credit card to pay for my rent. So
What you're describing right now is an IJ nightmare. For an
it was.
IJ, it's a nightmare, but for you, you're yeah, EP, awesome.
I wasn't comfortable with the idea,
Obviously, yeah,
but like I felt like I needed to learn self-responsibility at this point, and I needed to
cool.
just get out of that like environment where I was getting triggered all the time, right? Like
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
getting, yeah, and my mom was also lead SI, right? I think my mom's an ISFJ.
Okay.
So so basically I move out. I don't know what happened. I made it work though. Like I managed to get a job, and I was watching a lot of Dave Superpowers videos because at that point, like I knew what I like to do with my life, but I didn't know how to execute them, right?
Uh-huh.
So so that's kind of like the start of like the typology journey, like because I wanted to really learn what kind of career I'm best suited for, um because I had so many interests, but like nothing was kind of meshing, you know,
Yeah.
like I pretty much work in every industry. Like I work in a restaurant industry, I work in retail, I've worked in the health food industry, uh,
Yeah.
fitness industry, you know, like I pretty much, I was like, you know, like
Right.
I'm a
Odd
dabbler, right?
jobs. Odd jobs to support yourself.
Well, I'm a dabbler. Like I did not want to commit into like
Also.
one
Okay.
specific field, right? Like I didn't want, like they talk about blast being like building, right? So I did not want to build on anything. So I was always in a surface level. Like I never took the time to build a foundation, never took the time to build a building where you're kind of building your career.
Yeah,
You know,
jobs and not careers is what you're doing. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. I didn't have a career. I had a job.
Right.
So I got into typology because I wanted to have a career. I did not
Yeah.
want to have a job, right? So I was like, I need to find out where I can satisfy my NE and my FI.
Right.
Because I back then, you're kind of just thinking to like before the ops came into place. Um, they just talk about you kind of obsessing over your savior, right? Like you want to avoid your
Yeah.
demon and just go with your savior.
Yeah.
So that's what I was trying to do. I was trying to
I
avoid
see. Okay.
I was
Okay.
trying
Yeah.
to avoid my demons, right? So I was looking for a career where I can just do my saviors. That's essentially what I was trying to do. Um,
Right.
so actually, since then, I ended up landing onto personal training. So I've been working as a personal trainer now for 6 years. Um, so it's the first time in my life where I actually have a career that I've actually
Wow.
stuck to for so long, and I've actually built myself where I'm quite established now. And
Cool.
I've had to learn the SI as well. Like for example, when I train my clients,
How old are you now?
I'm 35.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. So I pretty much started my career around 28. Maybe
Right.
I've been in the industry longer than 6 years now, actually. But like, so pretty much when I have my clients, I need to have a notebook, and I track every single detail of their exercise, right?
Really?
Like
Wow.
how many reps they were able to do, how much weight they were doing.
Wow.
Um, and I keep track of their measurements. So I have a like a measuring tape, and then at the very first session, I would measure their chest, their abs, their quads, their biceps, their
Yeah.
glutes, and then every few months I would have a concise like data of like how much progress we've made, right? And then one of the indicator of good health is if your abdomen is shrinking, right?
Okay.
So it doesn't matter if your arms or legs are shrinking. If your stomach is not shrinking, it means you're still not healthy technically, right?
Okay.
Because they always talk about hips to waist ratio, and that's kind of like an indicator of fertility, right? It's like
Oh, for women. Yeah. Yeah. For
for
women.
women, but even for dudes, so like um, so basically I started tracking all the little sensory data here, like
Yeah, good on
tracking,
you.
and it's been helping actually with like retaining clients. I found that that's one of the biggest retaining points, is that the clients have been working with me for so long. They don't want to switch trainers because this guy has all the data on me. Like
Exactly. Yeah.
he has he has my history. Like you go to a doctor, right? And he has your health history.
Right.
Well, why should you switch doctors? Because the other doctor doesn't know
Well,
you, right?
with doctors, they transfer that kind of thing, but with health
Yeah,
professionals, you don't need to transfer it. Yeah.
exactly. Well, yeah, that makes sense. That's true. That's
Yeah.
true. But so but in a trainer's case, I'm not gonna transfer their data to another trainer, right?
Obviously, yeah.
Yeah. Um, so that seems to be working also. And then I just over time when I started kind of like training people, I just noticed like um, small detailed movements that like would indicate something. So, for example, if someone's doing a plank and their bone is sticking out of their back, like
Right.
your bone, your scapula.
Yeah, you've said this example before. Yeah.
Oh, I did. Okay. Well, when I
No,
interviewed you,
not here, yeah, but like in another interview, I've heard it. So yeah, but go ahead. Sorry.
okay. I mean, like so that's called winging scapula, right? And then a lot of people when they do planks, their bone sticks out. So that to me, it's like okay, that means you have tight traps. So you need to loosen up the traps first. So it's very step by
Uh-huh.
step, right? Like you can't break a step. So step one, release the trap. Step two, do like a push up that forces that scapula to kind of like not be sticking out anymore. Like I have to show you. It's very kind of
Wow. Yeah.
very
So you could write like a manual for how to exercise and for how to deal with that kind of. Yeah, that's cool.
easily. Yeah, I can do it without like without. I don't need a reference guide. It's all in my head, right? So it's
Right. Exactly.
I have all the sensory data, and I've trained enough people now where I can see the patterns.
Are you
Like
masculine sensory? You're MF. You're same as me.
I'm MF, yeah.
So
So
yeah. Okay. Awesome. Yeah.
yeah, I'm also extremely auditory. So I teach spin, right? I'm a spin instructor also. So
Okay.
and the reason why I teach spin is because I'm like I'm very good with music, and
Right.
like I'm very good at like kind of indicating when you should change the movement based on the music. Like I was like when I was kind of exploring, like when I was a little bit younger, I kind of figured I kind of got into breakdancing and a little bit of hip hop, you know, because I really like movements
Yeah.
and stuff. So but I was trouble with choreography because I was shitty with kind of like moving with the tribe.
Uh,
Like I was good with more freestyling, like doing my own thing. But like when it comes to like moving with the tribe, I was like like I have such trouble with group think, right? Or even group, even not just group think, but even group movements. Like I can't sync myself with the movement of the tribe. So when I was learning how to do hip hop, like I can't move with the tribe. So I have to be the one leading the movement because I'm not gonna listen to the movements of the other people, right? So that's
right.
why
Don't
I
control
think
me, bro. Like don't
it,
control me. Yeah.
it wasn't even
Freedom.
about that. Like I wasn't even thinking about like the control stuff. Like I just can't. I can't. Like I have trouble doing it.
Oh,
Like
okay.
I want to follow their movements, but I can't. Like there's
Okay.
something inside me that's preventing me from doing it. Like I just can't do it. But like when I teach spin, I dictate the movements, right?
Right.
So I don't need to do that. So people just follow what I'm doing, and then like
Nice.
that works for me, right? So
Yeah.
uh,
T works for
that's
you.
yeah, and it seems to work for other people too. So you
Yeah.
know, I'm pretty good with my TE also, right? So
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So okay. So you how did you get further like typed in OP? Because you didn't actually take the class and get typed officially, right? You sort of got typed by Dave unofficially.
Yeah, like you know, I met him in person in Seattle,
Yeah.
and they kind of
Yeah.
told
I
me
saw
what
the
they.
video you did. Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah, like that was in his car, but like
Yeah.
we were in a restaurant in this like a Mexican restaurant. Well, it's a fast food chain actually, but and him and Shan were kind of like telling me that you know they saw some of my older videos and
Oh, really?
um they just said okay, you know what, Kendrick, we see a lot of recents here. I think you are NETE. So they type me as
Oh,
NET actually. Um, and they think I have sleep last and
play first.
definitely demon. They said demon blast and play first. So my unofficial type based on Dave and Shan's typing is play, consume,
Consume, blast,
blast,
sleep.
sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah, they said the sleep blast is very obvious. Definitely demon blast also. And but they think I'm tribe above self. And
Okay.
I shake my head on that. So I cross check what they said with my relatives.
Right.
and my close friends who's known me for many years. And
Uh-huh.
I didn't tell them anything about op. I just wanted to be objective, right? So
Yeah, yeah.
I asked, so hey guys, do you think I'm self above tribe or tribe above self? Do you think I'm very selfish? Do I do things for myself first before I help you guys? Or do I help you guys first and like sacrifice myself? They're like, nope, you're a selfish asshole. You always do things for yourself.
Right. Yeah.
And they gave me SI like details too, right? Like my sister, for example, it's like when you're a kid, you know, our mom would bring home our favorite food and you would go to the fridge and eat all of it. And when it's time to eat dinner, it's all gone and you ate all of it. And you didn't even think about any of us, you know. And
Right.
you know, and then one of my best friends accused me of having complete disregard for other people,
Right.
you know.
Okay.
And I used to have a tendency to ghost people too. Like I would disappear for like 3 years and I won't see any of my friends, you know. And then I get so many I get so many tribe tidal waves too.
Okay.
So that's why I don't agree with Dave and Shan's assessment. I think the reason why they think I'm NETE is because my TE is double activated. Like it's
Could be. And also your play is double activated
yeah,
no
yeah.
matter what. And then also you're doing a lot of play, like you have a lot of play as well. Like it's really shining.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But I wonder why they maybe thought you were NT over NF.
Every time I talk to Dave on the phone, he's always sneaking that in, like because he knows am very he knows I'm very stubborn with me being NIFI.
Right.
So he'll sneak it
NEFI.
in.
Yeah.
Yeah, he'll sneak it in all the time. You know,
Yeah.
he's like,
Yeah.
you're like an NT like me, and I'm
Just to
like, oh
poke
my
at you.
god,
Just to poke at you. Yeah.
always does it, and I'm
Well,
like,
he's not an NT either, right?
yeah, well, I don't know why he said that, but
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that's what he said. Like
So that's probably what he meant. Yeah. You're an NT like me. Yeah.
yeah, you're like a nerd like me, you know, like an NT nerd like me, you know, or like
Yeah.
he's like, you're very good TE, and he'll like emphasize that you're very good. TE. I'm like, oh my god,
Yeah.
not this again. Like so many, and then like the annoying thing is like a lot of like the people I interview, especially the one who are like hardcore followers of Dave and Shan, like with masculine like T or FE would kind of like shove that in my face,
Right.
you know, and I'm like, oh my god, that's like groupthink, you know, like why are you engaging in groupthink, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
You're saying that because they said that, you know, like oh come on, man, like
That's actually very FI to be like anti-groupthink as well. Like it's more identity. It's more going with your own. Yeah.
oh I'm so against groupthink. Like
Yeah.
I always tell people, I'm like, you only said that because the group said that. That's not your opinion of what
Right.
really of this situation here, you know?
Right. I had to actually go through the same thing when I was typed. Like I had to be like, okay, well, I disagree with this personally, but I have to be objective now and I have to go out to the tribe. And so I
Yeah.
went out to the tribe to like try to figure out what my type was, like
Yeah.
objectively, because I figured I can't trust myself.
Right.
Everyone was like, that's save your play, what you just did. I was like, no, it's not save your play. It's like the only way I can actually get the information.
Yeah. Yeah.
I got no other option. I can't trust my sleep to figure it out. But yeah,
Well,
so whatever.
that makes sense because like how else do you get your information from the tribe than like that doesn't
exactly. So like
yeah.
I was thinking, I was thinking when you were saying that, I was going out to my friends to try to get objective points on who I am, right? It's like, oh, that's save your play, what you just did.
Yeah, I mean, like I'm not making a video of me sitting in the library reading those books, right? Like,
Right, yeah.
like how are you tracking this shit, right? So,
Right.
so it's a little bit frustrating, but I'm like, okay, you know what? If he wants to think that way, that's cool. You know, let him think that way. But like, I know myself well, and I've also taken the due diligence to
Right.
cross check with my family members and my friends, you know, and they all told me I'm a selfish asshole who only thinks about myself, and
Yeah.
like, they seem to be very fascinated too with my FI. Like I know exactly what I want to do with my life.
Mhm.
Like I know what my values are, and like I pretty much. Sorry.
You know what you like, and you know your values. Yeah.
Yeah, like besides being a fitness person, like I've really been practicing really hard on using my SI as the years went by. So, I have a travel blog, and I've been running it for 4 years now consistently. And
Right,
SI
yeah.
is all about documenting travel experience, right? So like I have a travel blog, so I have a very detailed travel blog where I document.
Nice.
Not only that, like so, whenever I travel to a country, I keep tabs of every single dollar that I spent to the penny, and I
Wow.
record it on my blog. So like you can see exactly how much it costs to travel to this country, like what is the average, like how much you should expect to spend per day if you're in a specific country, right?
Right.
And then, so I documented everything because I was trying to practice using my SI. So I've been doing it for 4 years now, and I'm starting to get the hang of
So you were
SIs.
doing this before OP told you to do it? Like,
Yeah, I was doing it
yeah.
before OP. Well, I mean, even the traditional like MBTI terms, they already told you like your SI shit. Like I knew my SI was shit.
Right.
I didn't want to become like just an ENFP who was kind of like just using my saviors. I wanted to use all four, right? Like I was kind of
Right.
like experimenting. I was thinking to myself, what would happen if I learned how to use my SI? So
Nice. Good job.
yeah, but then the other thing was like, how can I use my SI in an FI way? Which made
Right.
sense. SI and FI is sleep, right? So like how can I use those two together? So for me, it was like journaling my travel experiences. So that's kind of like
yeah, exactly. Yeah. Accessing it sort of through your blast sort of thing. Yeah.
Well, it's my passion, right? Like travel's my passion. So so that's how I access sleep. Now I also learned how to use my sleep too. So sleep's my last. So one of the reasons why I never wanted to process kind of like my feelings and like kind of my life experiences, I never took the time to do it before when I was younger.
Right.
Was because I felt it was a waste of time. Like I felt like like I could be doing something else with my time. Like I could be taking action, not sitting there. Like my sister's an INFJ, and all she does is like stay in her room all day, kind of like processing things.
Right.
Not using her SE, so she never has any concrete data on what really happened. So in a sense, she kind of lives in her dreamland, right? So so I didn't want to become like that. So I wanted to make sure that I'm using all four of my functions. But at the same time, later on, as I grew older, I realized the importance of SI, and I'm doing my taxes, and I'm like, okay, oh shit, like I'm missing information in my taxes. Like the big evil tax man's gonna come get me, like control, right? Like I'm scared of control, right? So I was like, okay, I better have all my paperwork organized, like all my receipts and stuff.
Yeah.
Otherwise, the big tax person's gonna get me,
Yeah. I'm noticing that your blast is really developed. Like, how did you manage that?
Toastmasters. So like,
right. Yeah. Okay.
I did the Toastmasters program. I actually finished the entire program. So like I'm a DTM, you could say, like that's what the highest level is called. So you have to do prepared speeches, and it's usually just a one-way blast between you and the audience. I mean, there's a little bit of play, but
so you had a hard time with it at first?
No, not really.
No, and it's like a hobby state too.
Well, because I was using play at first, so you can public speak in a play way, right? Like you can like poke fun of the type. But I wanted to kind of practice doing like a one-way lecture.
Right.
If you look at my channel, I actually spent 1 year just making daily video blogs. Before I started my channel, I had like this inkling feeling that my blast was extremely garbage. So before I got into making YouTube videos, I spent 365. I made a 365 days series where I made a video every single day of me just blasting.
Good for you, man. That's awesome.
Yeah. So by the time I released my videos, I had some experience already. Like I felt it wasn't good, but I had experience already, like 1 year's worth.
Also, blast is the opposite two functions than your saviors when you're doing blast. So like that's really working your demons as well.
Yeah, I thought it was a compliment because I went to this one forum called Personality Cafe.
Right.
When I first got in trouble with the ops member, when they got mad at me for releasing that video on why ENFP is going to kick the INTJ and INFJ's asses.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah. I published that video on the ENFP Personality Cafe forum.
Right.
And I was accused of not being an ENFP. And I took that as a compliment because they said they watched my video and I did not come across as an ENFP. And then I realized, perfect, now I'm using blast perfectly because blast is SI and TE, right?
Yeah.
So I'm blasting my known information as ST. So I come across as an ST individual.
Right.
So I took it as a compliment because I was able to kind of like peacock that I was like an almost like as an ST.
Yeah.
So I'm like, sweet, it worked. Like I can now use my blast to an extent.
Nice. Okay, yeah. Before we run out of time, let's talk a little bit about your functions a little bit more in depth.
Sure.
So teach us a little bit about your NE, how you see NE work for you, how it expresses itself.
Well, I use this as the same example all the time. Like when I interviewed Julian, the ISFP, and
Okay.
there was another person I use this example for. But so back to fitness, like sometimes I talk to people and they talk about their best workout plan, right? Like this is my workout program, right? And then they're just tunnel visioning, like NI tunnel visioning that workout program. But for me, I'm thinking to myself, well, no, if you want to get the result in fitness, you can't just tunnel vision on just the exercise. You know, there's the extra, you need to have a system for your exercise. You need to have a system for your nutrition. You need to have a system for your sleep. And you need to have a system for stress reduction, because those are the four pillars of health. And if you want to achieve, if you want to maximize the return on the time that you spend on your health, then you need to tackle all four of those areas. You can look at people like LeBron James, like he has a sleep program, like a recovery program, right? Like apparently
Right.
he sleeps like 10 to 12 hours per day. You know, he goes to the cryo chamber, you know, so he has a program for recovery for sleep. You know, he has a masseuse. He spends over $2 million a year just on personal care, right? So when people kind of like NI tunnel vision and just the exercise, well, you're missing the other stuff. You know, you're missing the other things. Like you're missing, what is your nutrition plan? What is your, no one has a sleep plan. Like no one has a system for sleeping. Like
Uh-huh.
you're missing a system for sleep. Like what are you doing? Like so I research everything about like about health, right? Like if I'm using my NE, then I'll use my NE and research. Okay, like for example, I have a client, right? And my client wants to lose weight. Then I need to make sure that I have all four areas covered. So like for sleep, for example, I research, like I watch a bunch of podcasts on sleep. There's an author, his name's Nick Little Hales. He talks about like the best way to maximize your sleep. So he's the sleep coach for Ronaldo, the soccer player, and
Okay.
also for the tennis player. What's his name? The one who always wins.
Wow,
Uh,
that's so weird. You have to have a sleep coach. Okay.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So Roger Federer, sorry. So basically, to get the best sleep, you need to have linen sheets as your kind of like that covers your bed,
All
and also
right.
your also for your pillow, linen sheets. Um, you know, like you must have the room to be completely dark, and then you must make sure that you have um, you don't have any blue lights emitting from your
Yeah, the blue
computer
light, that
or your
makes
cell
sense.
phone.
Yeah.
Like you know, after dark, you shouldn't,
Yeah.
like after 7, let's say.
Yeah.
So I tell that to all my clients. I'm like, okay, so the reason why you're not losing any weight or any belly fat is because you have too much cortisol buildup, and part of the cortisol buildup is from stress. So yeah, you're eating clean and you're exercising, but the other half of the pie you're missing. You're missing,
Right.
you know, you're overly stressed out, you know. And I can even do the sensory check on him. Like their traps is like raced, right? And then they have tight traps. You know, that's an indicator of like overstimulated like mental stress, right?
Uh-huh.
Like it's like I can poke in their traps. It's like hard as a rock, right? And then I'm like, okay, you know, over clearly, like then I ask them, how many hours of sleep are you getting per day? And then they'll say something like, oh, 6 hours. I'm like, no, okay, you need to have at least 7.5 hours of sleep per day. That's 5 sleep cycles. Every
Right.
sleep cycle will fix a specific part of your body, like either your body, your emotion, your mental health. Like if you're missing one part of sleep cycle, something's not being fit, something's not recovering, right?
Well, I wish the army would listen to you, because there was like 6 hours of sleep there in the army. Is that was mandatory, 6 hours, and they could interrupt it in the middle for like to go and do guard duty or something.
Well, I don't think they're trying to take care of your health though
Yeah,
in
I
the army.
don't. Probably
I
not.
think they're conditioning you for the rest. So
Yeah, yeah,
that's a different story.
yeah, yeah. Okay. Anyway,
But
keep going on your example for any. Okay.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Basically, that's how I would use NE. Then it's like I would look at so many different. I would gather so
Oh,
many different information from different like, and I won't just gather information from one person. I would gather it from multiple different persons from that one area. So if it's exercise, I would gather information from, you know, Tim Ferriss, you know, the 4 Hour Body, for
right,
example. I'd gather information from Charles Poliquin, who's a strength and conditioning coach.
right.
Um, you know, and I'll go
And
online. Yeah. So
what kind of information would you gather? What kind of how would you use your filter? Like how would you filter that information?
I filter in two ways. So if I'm gathering for myself, like let's say I feel like I hurt myself, then I would gather information for myself. Like, okay, I hurt my lower back. What kind of treatment do I need for my lower back? What kind of practitioner should I go to? So for example, I need to learn trigger point therapy. So I would read a book on trigger point, press this muscle, this muscle, this muscle, loosen up those muscle. This should be loosened up. So that's if I were doing it for myself. If I'm doing it for my clients, then it would be more like NET, right? Like, okay, what works for my client? Because every single client is different, right?
Uh,
So it's not one system fits all. I need to make sure that I individualize it based on the client. So if this client is an endomorph, they're gonna have a different exercise plan than someone that's ectomorph.
yeah.
So it's very customized to the client based on the information I will gather for them.
Cool. FI, maybe we should touch on that like really briefly. How do you see your FI express itself?
It's kind of like if I go to work, and I'll give you a very good FI example. So I was at work like a few weeks ago, and there was a guy who was like, he for me, I perceive him as being condescending. So he was looking at me because I also supervise the gym to make sure that no one's stealing any equipment. So he went up to me. He's like, "Hey, come here, come here, come here, come here, come here, come here." And that's like a very condescending, like,
Right. Okay.
gesture, right? I remember someone doing that to me a long time ago, but I did not know how to react to it because at that time, I didn't have proper blast. But because now I have like info of how I felt and I process it with my sleep,
Right.
I knew how I would react if this situation ever happened again. So when this guy did this to me, I went up to him. I'm like, "Why are you doing this? This is condescending." And he freaked out on me, right? I think he was an EJ, right?
Uh-huh.
Like, and he freaked the fuck out on me, right? And then he was like, "If you're starting shit, I can start shit too."
Uh-huh.
And then in my head, the way I'm using my FI is like, I don't give a fuck if my boss or this facility fires me. I'm not gonna let this asshole act condescending to me. I'm gonna protect my dignity and myself from this
Right.
idiot. So I actually faced him head on and I said, "This is condescending. You don't do this. This is condescending. Why are you doing this?" And he freaked out, and then he chilled out and tried to like explain himself to me. And I kind of just
Right.
laughed when he was explaining himself to me, because I was laughing inside. I was like, "Oh wow, people are so weak, right? Like it's so easy to like
Huh.
get people off course." I didn't realize that he wasn't doing this to be condescending. I just don't think he knew better.
Right.
That's,
Probably. Yeah.
yeah. And then like after we sorted it out, I was like, oh, okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
And it was cool afterwards. But I was glad that I did that, because I did not betray myself to appease someone else.
Right.
Like I would never betray myself to appease someone else.
Right. Your own personal values as well. Like you. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been doing it since I was a teenager too. Did you watch wrestling when you were a kid, like WWF or WWE?
I was aware of it. I didn't like actively watch it, but yeah.
Yeah.
It
Okay.
was
So
always the kids that really liked it. Yeah.
yeah, I love that shit, right? Like,
Yeah.
so I've been watching since I was 3. So like in when I was in high school, there was a cool kid who was telling everyone which wrestler they should root for, right? And he's like he's like kind of like hyping him up, right? And I went up to the cool kid. I'm like, "That guy sucks. Like he's shit." Right? And he tried to shame me in front of like everybody, right?
Okay.
But like for me, I was like, I didn't feel shame at all. Like for me, I felt happy. I was like, you know what? I held my ground. This is who I like. I don't give a fuck who you like. I gave you my opinion.
Who you like.
People should group think, because I saw
Right.
another person who was acting like a sheep, right? It makes me so
Right.
mad people act like a sheep, right? And I'm like I don't want to be one of your sheeps, okay? Like I'm me, and
Interesting.
this person's an idiot. That the person you're rooting for sucks, in my opinion. And I'm not gonna follow your opinion just because you're the cool kid and every single loser kid is trying to follow your footstep, or not try to be rejected by the tribe, essentially.
Yeah, that sounds also really double decidery too, that like you're able to confront him and then just not care how he reacts to you, because I like feel like you succeeded by triggering him, sort of thing.
I wasn't trying to trigger on purpose. I'm kind of just trying to say,
But
this
once
is
you did. You were
yeah.
happy.
Once when he pushed back, I'm like, okay, whatever.
Right.
It doesn't. I trigger people all the time, man. Like it doesn't really bother me when people push back. Like when people attack
Right.
me, I have so many people attacking me when I made that video, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I have more
I yeah, you succeeded. I succeeded in triggering. Yeah.
yeah, I got more
Interesting. Yeah.
views. Yeah.
That's cool. Okay, and then we'll touch quickly also on your TE. How do you see your TE express itself, really quick?
I have feminine TE, so
Right.
I'm very good at using it because like I always plan trips for me and my family or me and my girlfriend.
Okay.
So just most recently, I had to plan for a big vacation and to Africa, in Asia, and also in Europe. So it's like I talk a lot about frequent flyer miles, and I know all the little loopholes when it comes to using it.
Right.
But I'm still very indecisive when executing. So I had to practice executing my TE. That's why I always ask the tribe for advice on how to execute stuff, because even though I can see like how the right way to execute it, I don't feel secure about executing it because I have feminine TE, right? So TE is
Okay.
all planning and execute. So and it's also like kind of like looking at the tribe and seeing what everyone likes, and then
Well, what everyone
including.
is doing. Everyone's
So like for
agreement.
example, like if I'm planning a vacation, I'm gonna ask my sister what she wants to do and what she wants to see in this specific country. I'm gonna ask my
Okay.
girlfriend what she wants to do, what she wants to see. And then I will use my FI to see what I want to do, what I want to see, and I'll
Right.
put together an itinerary where everyone's get to see what we all want to see and what we want to do.
Right.
And then I'll plan it, and then I will present it to the tribe. Does this look good to you guys? If everyone says yeah, it works for me,
Right.
then I will execute it. So that's like
Nice.
that's a basic way to use TE pretty much. You
Yeah.
know, yeah. But
Are
then
you, go ahead. Yeah.
but like for the bigger stuff, like my my YouTube channel, right? Like I'm trying to grow my YouTube channel. So I can't tell you how many INTJs I've already approached and asked them questions, and I still can't. I'm still so indecisive at like how I'm gonna execute it. Like it's I feel like I always need constant validation that my execution is gonna be okay. Like because it's feminine. Like I will ask Dave. I'm like, hey Dave, is this okay? I'll bother my INTJ friend. Hey, is this okay? And my INTJ friend will get pissed at me, right? It's like I already told you this. I told you this
Right.
shit. This is how you do it. Step, okay? 3 videos per week. This is the kind of video that you make. Just fucking do it.
Right.
I'm not gonna talk to you about this again. You know, I'm like, oh, okay. Like, that's not nice, but okay.
Okay.
And then I'll go bug another INTJ, right? And then like, so how do I execute this? But then like inside my head, I already know because another INTJ told me like the system.
Right.
How
You're
to,
just trying to get more confirmation, more points, more data. Yeah.
yeah, to execute it because like the way my execution is very like I'm very insecure with how I'm gonna execute something that I've never done before.
Uh-huh.
Like when it comes to travel, I've done it multiple times, so I'm pretty confident now.
Right.
But if I haven't reached that, like, so if this is the goal and I'm here, if I've never reached that goal before, I need validation until I hit it
Right.
on
So
how to execute that. Yeah.
yeah. So you spoke a little bit about how you don't like sheep and stuff like that, but
Yeah.
your TE should be looking a little bit for tribe agreement, I guess, in a way. So like,
I just don't want to fuck up, man. I don't want to fuck up my campaign, my YouTube, my social media campaign.
right. But like, okay, so like if you're doing something with a tribe, for example, are you looking for just general consensus and agreement for, is that what your TE is looking for between
Well, like I said, well, I'm a double decider, so I want to make sure I'm happy and the group is happy. I want everyone
Right.
to be happy. So I want it to be win-win.
Right.
But if you put me in a choice where it's me, there's like someone has to lose, I'm gonna pick me. You know.
Okay. And
Yeah.
what about truth? Do you see truth as what works?
No.
What's truth for you?
I don't know. It's kind of hard to answer that question.
Are you
But like,
are you interested in what works? Like,
I'm interested to know what works. Yes.
yeah, what works
But I won't go out of my way to find it.
right. Is it are you also interested in finding the truth on things, or for you it's the same thing? What works and the truth is the same.
What works and the truth is the same thing to me.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. Like I'm very, so for example, I'm very big in the 5 flags theory. I don't know if you've heard of it, but it's basically it's like it's a lot of fear mongering. A lot of, I think an IJ created this system, but like basically they said the government's out to get you pretty much. So you need to do the 5 flags model, which is like put your money in one country where the government can't reach your money. have a second passport so that if your country captures you, you can always leave at any time because you have a second passport. Live in a country that doesn't charge foreign income, so that the country can't dip their hands in your pocket, and then have your investments in another country. So it's like a five flags, and then you can buy your stuff from another country. So I'm super interested in that because, like I said, it's just like I forgot I lost my train of thought, but I don't know if there's a truth to what they're saying,
Right.
but it's appealing to me that you can do this to get freedom essentially from government from a government potentially going rogue, because someone wrote a book long time ago. I forgot the name of the book, but the concept was like every country kind of goes through a stage of where they're going through hardship, and then those people work hard and they reach prosperity, and then their offspring become lazy, and then they start going to a decline,
and then
the country becomes more social, and then they go and it's a wave, right? Like the US kind of like going to dip right now, right? So so I like that. To me is a truth. I'm like, that's the truth,
Okay,
like,
I see.
yeah.
Interesting.
But I did not seek it out. Like when I read about it, I'm like, that's so interesting, but I did not seek it. I found it and I read about it and I consumed it and I found it interesting.
Cool, man. Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's plug your stuff a little bit. So you're going to give me a link and we're going to put your YouTube channel. Well, I'll find the link for your YouTube channel, but for your travel blog too, we'll put that in. Is there something else you want to promote?
I wasn't even thinking about that, but sure. Yeah, we can promote my travel blog, my YouTube channel.
And okay, cool. Yeah. Check out Kendrick. He's doing interviews. He's doing 3 videos a week. He's trying to at least. And travel blog, way to save money for Canadians and for anyone else who wants to learn, but mostly Canadians, right?
1/3 of the information is just for Canadians. Yeah.
Right. Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool, man. And do you have any final message you want to say to the tribe about your type, that maybe something we looked over, something we didn't investigate?
Oh man, I need to like use my sleep to kind of like figure that out.
Yeah.
Well, I think in my opinion, before you do anything in your life, I think the most important thing is you must know who you are first. So don't engage in groupthink and don't be a sheep. Like always know who you are. And in life, there's always like the building that you need to climb that kind of matches your happiness and also that makes you good money. So even though it takes you longer to find that, and yes, your parents might disagree with what you're saying, or your friends might think you're a loser because you're not getting ahead in your career much faster.
Right.
I think you always want to make sure that you have that right intersection of your passion and a career that makes good money. And then once you find that out, then you go 100% all in on that.
Nice.
And the only way to find that is to go try different jobs or career. And if you haven't taken the time to try it, you don't know. So don't make assumptions. Always get firsthand experience.
Right. So that first part is actually good advice for everyone who's not an IP. Because IP already knows who he is and no problem with that.
Yeah, they have no yeah. Like for you, you're like, yeah, no shit. But like
And then the second part, just go and try stuff. It's good advice for, I think, maybe an IJ, no? Just go try. Just go
100%.
Stop planning.
100% IJs.
Yeah.
Yeah, and don't make assumptions too, because I find a lot of IJs, like I like IJs a lot, but I find that they cut me off so much when I talk to them. I find it quite annoying because like I tend to host local travel meetups, and my next speaker is an INFJ, and I would tell him something like, yeah, I know. Like I just told him one sentence. I didn't even tell him the full spectrum, right? It's like, I know. And I'm like, dude, like can you get like the whole spectrum first before you cut me off? And I don't want you to screw yourself over. Like I'm trying to help you see all the chaos is coming your way. Like I'm not trying to screw you over, my friend.
Right.
Yeah,
it's funny. Like the EPs, they need so much information before they can make a decision. You just need to get all that information first.
Yeah, you need it.
Yeah. And then the IJs, they don't need all that information. They already have their, like, most of the time they don't need it, but sometimes they forget to get that information and it screws them over in the end. Yeah.
I don't want the IJ to shoot themselves on the foot.
Yeah.
Because they're missing an information because they got over arrogant that they think they know everything already. When the fact is, they only know sliver. They got the basic gist of it, but like, what about the depth of the detail that you missed from gathering information?
Right. Yeah. And generally EPs, they need to stop gathering information and just say, hey, I got enough. Just go and, execute, go and make a plan. You got enough information. Don't gather more.
Well,
Yeah.
I call it like the EP fuck it moment. You're
Right.
like, fuck it. I have enough stuff. Let's
Yeah,
get started. And you know
exactly.
what? You know what, man? If I never started interviewing people, I tell you, I'm leaving a lot of information on the table. So I'm so glad I actually just started my YouTube channel and started doing what you're doing.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
I learned so much getting it from the people that actually has those functions to tell
Yeah.
me how it works. Because
Yeah.
now I know so much more.
And what's great is like now everyone is knowing so much more too, because like now people can consume your play and the play information that you're doing. Yeah.
Well, the people that has high consume knows more.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Cool, man. Have a good one. Thank you so much for coming out.
Thanks, dude.
Peace.
Thanks for having me.